Okay, good evening everyone. My name is Timothy Witter and I will be telling you about Ember.js. It looks a bit high, but it's fine, Okay, so first of all, an overview. First I'll be telling you what is Ember.js, then I'll be telling you a little bit more about JS, then going into a bit of the core concepts, the positives, the negatives of Ember.js, the notable users and some other users as well, the licensing, and then obviously a summary at the end. Okay, so what is Ember? Ember is an open source JavaScript framework that is based on the MVC pattern. Okay, it uses a rich object model, two-way data binding. Now, if anyone can tell me what two-way data binding is, that would be great. Anyone? No one. Okay. Two-way data binding is when the model and the template, we'll get to templates just now, are linked. So when the template changes, the model also gets updated, and when the model updates, the template automatically gets updated. It also uses computed properties and, as I said before, automatically updating templates. So, about Ember. It started as Sprite Core MVC in 2007, originally developed by Sprite Core LT, and then later on developed by Apple. Then, in 2011, it was forked by that man, Yehuda Katz. I'm not sure if that's the correct pronunciation, but that's what it looks like. And the current production version is 1.10. Okay. Its dependents are jQuery and handlebars. And as my friend Boromir says, if you do not use a handlebars templating system, you cannot expect the data binding to work. Okay, so the current size is quite large for a front-end JavaScript framework. It's 375 kilobytes as the min version, and then with its two dependents, which is 122 and 94 kilobytes, it comes up to a total size of 591 kilobytes. Quite large for a web application, but as this is actually meant for single page web applications, scalable web applications, it only gets loaded once. Also, Ember uses something they call a run loop. The run loop means that there is only ever one DOM update. So the page gets loaded once, and all the other updates that, as I said, it has the automatic template updates, only happens sub-DOM update. So there's never a second DOM update, thanks to the run loop of Java. So, not Java, Ember, sorry. So for the core concepts, first of all, I've mentioned templates before. There's templates, there's the router, the components, models, routes, and controllers. Okay, that is a picture of what the run loop looks like and how it comes together. First of all, I'll be telling you about templates. Now, templates is written in the handlebars templating language. It describes the user interface. It's backed by a model. Each of the templates has its own model, and it automatically gets updated when the model changes. Secondly, you have the router. The router translates the URL into nested templates. And each template is backed by its own model as it routes it, and then keeps the URL up to date as the templates change. So this means that if I send a friend a link from a Ember application, they will get the exact same view that I get because of the templates. So when it gets to the route, which I'll get to soon, it will convert that route into nested templates and then actually display them. Next we have components. Components are custom HTML tags whose behavior is implemented through JavaScript. Their appearance are described by the templates, allows you to create reusable controls, and simplifies your application's templates. So in a sense, it just allows you to create a specific behavior for a set of templates or a template that can be reused throughout the application. Next, we have the model. The model, as we've all used models before in object-oriented programming, stores a persistent state. It is turned into HTML by the template and displayed by the user. So it converts the model into HTML, displays it to the user, and then converts it back to the model when the template changes. Now route is an object that tells the template which model it should display. So this is, as I spoke to you about before, in the router, when you have a URL, it converts that into nested templates and then actually displays those on the screen. Then we have the controllers. This stores an application state. Each template can also have a controller as well as a model. Okay? But the controller is only optional. Templates can then load properties from both the model and the controller if necessary. So if you have provided one. The positives about Ember is that it allows, well, prefers convention over configuration. They go a step further even by providing you with a controller for each of your models and templates if you do not specify one. So it will generate one for you. This convention over configuration allows you to not have to write a lot of boilerplate code that will allow everything to work for you. It just does it for you. It has an external router and optional data layer, which is actually much better than its competing frameworks that have a very minimal data layer. Performance was a major goal during the design. It was built to have a quick startup and a quick runtime. As I said before, because of the Ember run loop, it only has a single DOM update, which makes everything run faster. And as I said, it loads and runs faster. Now, some of the negatives about Ember is that before it's stabilized, up to 1.06, it was not very stable. So there was a lot of changes that kept happening, which made a lot of the examples and help that was out there on Stack Overflow, all those, it made very redundant and old very quickly because there were too many breaking changes to the framework itself. But now it is stabilized, so that actually negates that first one there. Second thing is that because it depends quite heavily on the HTML handlebars library, is that it pollutes your code with a lot of script tags. Now, recently they've moved over to their own HTML bars, the HTML bars library, which reduces this problem. So you don't actually have that anymore. Lastly, they have a larger file size than most of the other frameworks. So it is a larger size to load on the first load, but then it responds faster than most of the other frameworks. Some of the users of Ember, which are many, but some of the notable ones are Yahoo, Groupon, Zendesk. Then as you can see, there is Tilde, Yap, Topicus, Gemfury, Battery, Group Talent, and it just goes on and on. On their webpage, there's about 60 links to different people that actually use Ember. Even though those might not be a premier part of their website, it's somewhere in there. Their licensing, they are completely open source, and as their websites say, they will always be. So you can use it as you want, change it like you want. The summary. It's a client-side JavaScript framework. It started in 2007 as Sprout Core LT. It was then developed into Ember by Yehuda Katz in 2011. I don't know if I mentioned this, but Yehuda Katz is a big contributor to the jQuery and Handlebars libraries. It was based on the MVC pattern, and it depends on jQuery and Handlebars. It favors convention over configuration and is completely open source. So that is Ember in a nutshell. Could I have any questions?
You said you can link models to views, but what happens if you want to list a few models?
Yes, as I said, actually I mentioned this, that it's not a view, it's a template. Now a template describes the view. So think of a template as a widget. It's only a small part of your entire view. And each template contains its own model. So you'll have multiple templates in a view, each with its own data model attached to it. And that's where controllers also come in. Each template can grab data from the controllers. So you can have multiple templates and all grab something from an associated model and a controller, if necessary. Anyone else? I guess that's it. Thank you, guys.